sure it's not me?
Hey, you might.
Yeah, it's
Hey.
definitely you,
I
brother.
just did.
Okay,
I'm
that's
watching
all.
from the background.
Is it
Okay,
me?
thank you. That's all. Was like, it is you. That's all I wanted to make sure. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're freezing up.
Let's see.
Now you're a little better. I don't know if you have a boost.
Always a fantastic way to start, huh? I tell you, if we could ever get this right, it'd be a miracle. Hold on, folks. We're having some technical difficulties again. Apparently, I was told that. No. Well, best laid plans, huh?
Hello, everybody. Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Janae Strother. I'm Sean Spencer.
Well, I do apologize because apparently, on my end, and I'm supposed to be running this show, my computer has decided to not basically obey my commands. It's waiting on StreamYard to do something here. So greatly apologize for watching because we are live currently. And so I'm having trouble getting the videos going. But since we are live, I will say that currently on the screen you see two other lovely people who are with me. I am Nick Rosario, host of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable, but not the only host, my friend. My lovely co-host this year, as we're just started again. Let me introduce who we have here. It's our first show of the year, so I greatly apologize for the technical difficulties. I really do. We will definitely get those for further broadcast. But to get us started here, again, I'm Nick Rosario, and my co-host this year is the lovely and talented as always, Delilah Crespo. Delilah,
Hey, what's
how
up?
you doing?
Hey,
How's it going?
everybody. Woo. Hello from balmy Chicago because it's hot.
That's right.
Oh,
We've been
sorry,
having some weather,
Oklahoma.
let me tell you.
Sorry, Oklahoma. I know you don't feel bad
Yeah,
for us.
exactly.
Not a bit.
A bit,
Not
right?
a bit.
A bit. And then that deep baritone voice you hear on the other end is a man named Anthony Handy. Anthony is going to be one of our. He's our colleague, of course. He's our featured member of this group. You see him every week, so get to know his face. He's a lovable guy. Anthony Handy, our third member of this team this year for Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Anthony, how you doing?
I am very happy. I'm very happy to be here. I couldn't not do the voice.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I was just waiting. Yes, I
uh,
was just waiting for that one. He's happy
It
to
is
be
my
here.
favorite part of
We're
the
all happy to
game.
be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
dude,
Exactly.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked. You know, we were back in the green room. I told everybody, I said, "This is how you know football is coming back because Delilah's on the screen and the mirror's in the background." So there it is.
That is very true.
Yeah,
That is
doing good. And Delilah,
so true.
you and y'all heat. Look, it was 112 degrees when I left work on Friday, coming home at 4:30. And I know I'm sorry, I was working from home Friday, but it was 112 degrees. It started raining on Friday evening. It rained Friday, rained Saturday, rained part of Sunday. Temperatures got down to 89. It stopped raining early Sunday afternoon. It's now 103 degrees again. Temperature just jumped right on back up. I don't feel sorry for y'all at all. The only time I feel sorry for y'all is in the winter.
Yeah, but don't feel bad for us at all. It's fine. We need summer. We need the heat so we can appreciate the winter and all that. And we need the winter so we can appreciate the summer. Like, we have seasons here and we love it. So, okay, let's get down to business real quick. I know this is a football show. It's a football show. But we did want to mention one thing because we all are sports fans, and you always want to acknowledge greatness. And we lost a great one the other day. Bill Russell passed away. Of course, everybody knows Bill Russell, 11-time champion. I was an NCAA champion, Olympic champion, coached, the first black coaches in the NBA, coached Sacramento Kings. Bill unfortunately passed away. I think it was 88. I believe. I apologize.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Bill Russell. I mean, what can you say, Delilah? What can you say about Bill and just the legacy that he left?
He literally is the building block, right? Like honestly, like him and Wilt Chamberlain were, and now they're together. They literally set the tone for everybody else. Everybody wanted to be them. Like that's, there's no way. Like 11 championships. I don't think we'll ever see that. The most we've seen is Kareem and Michael get 6 apiece, right? So again, like just not easy to do. Great man, and not just the sports, also fought for civil rights. I think people forget he was very outspoken at a time when Black people really couldn't, especially Black athletes. He was out there with Muhammad Ali, right? So he really put himself out there, not just for basketball, but for his people. So rest in peace. We also lost Nichelle Nichols. You're right. I love that woman. So rest in peace.
Lieutenant Uhura, yeah.
So rest in peace to 2 legends, honestly, who really changed the game. They really made a difference in the world, and so many people were able to do what they do because of them. So rest in peace, Bill Russell. Rest in peace, Lieutenant Uhura, Nichelle Nichols.
Right, Uhura. Awesome. Yeah, so again, now on to football. Delilah and Andy, since you're here, you can sit here and listen to what a real football team is going to sound like this year. No, I'm kidding. For those that don't know, Anthony is a Falcons fan. He's going to laugh. See? You let him laugh in the background there. Because as is, he's just going to sit there. Because again, Delilah and I, as you both know, hail from the great city of Chicago. And this year, our beloved Bears have been getting trashed by the mainstream media about what we're going to do this year. All of them. I mean, if you watch predictions everywhere, we're going to go 3-14. We're going to go 5-12. We're going to go 4-13. We may win 6 games. And it just, so I want to talk, Delilah, I'm going to come straight to you with this. You've been watching a little bit of the training camp, seeing how we're doing. What is your feeling for this year coming into with the new GM, new coach, new offense, all that? How are you feeling about Bears football in 2022?
I think we're gonna see a lot. I feel like we're gonna see a lot ugly, because that's what he came to do. I think people forget that even the Chiefs were ugly for a while too before he came on board. So I'm okay with him cleaning house. It's like these contracts were ridiculous on aging defensive men. I know people are upset. Like I love those guys. I have no hate on any of the guys that went for their fortune to try to get that last hurrah, right? But I understand it, right? It's like we need to bring in new talent, and watching that happen, I know it can be brutal. But do I think we're gonna win the division? No, I'm gonna be realistic, but I think we'll be more competitive than what people think. I do like that the offensive coaches are being more strict with our players, because I feel like that's been lax in the past. So yeah, now they gotta put discipline, and some of these guys don't like it. And I'm like, sorry, like this is football. Like if you can't put your big boy pants on and do what needs to be done to learn a new scheme, to learn a new system, then we're gonna trade you. Looking at you, Trevor.
Evan Jenkins, right? Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up, Delilah, because I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was just thinking about that. I'm like, here's a guy who missed a lot of last year's rookie season, right? He didn't play more than half the year. Finally gets in at the end. You get a chance to come into training camp fresh, new coaches, new whatever, and you just want to act up and be a fool and not, buy into the system or whatever. And I'm glad they're thinking about trading him. Because if you're not with the program, you got to go, man. Like, I appreciate the approach that they're taking with this. Because as you said, they want to come in here and change the attitude. They want to turn this thing around. The Bears have are one of the most storied franchises in all of football. Like, I know people will say, well, yeah, that's kind of a padded stat, because they're they're also one of the original football teams. But the Bears do have, by one game only, but have the most wins in NFL football history. I mean, we've been around forever. We're a storied franchise. And for the last 35 years, we've been a laughingstock to a lot of people. And it's about time that the culture changed. It's about time that we got people in here who are willing to be hardline and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. You don't want to get with it, you can get out. I mean, and that's just the bottom line. And Post
said it. You got 1 year to turn it around. So The new coach, like, everybody's like, oh, who's this Matt guy? He's got 1 season. And he's like, basically, he's like, don't mean you got to stick around. He's been saying that a lot about like the coaching staff. And sometimes that's just how it is. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I know that it's rubbing people the wrong way, but we haven't had football-minded people in a long time in Chicago. And I think that's trying to get used to that again, right? Because for decades, we haven't had football thinking people in charge that have to make these types of decisions that people are like, whoa, why are they doing this? I'm like, because it has to be done. It hasn't been done for a long time. And so again, change of culture is hard. I don't think we'll be murdered this season, but I also am going to be realistic and knowing who we're playing against in our division as well. And so do I think we're going to have we demolish all the time? No, I think we're going to do okay. And that's just an honest opinion. We'll win a few of these games and we'll see what happens. All I want to see is improvement. I want to see improvement. I want to see improvement on offense. I want to see Justin feel protected. I want to see if he can do what he did in Ohio, right? If that's not a fluke, can he come into the NFL and actually get a shot, right? Because last season he was the most sacked, right? So it's like, how are you going to actually perform if you're constantly on the ground, right? So I feel this year we can actually see what this kid's about. So we'll see. But I'm excited to see things happen. And yeah, it's going to rub people the wrong way. Like, get used to it. Change has come, all right? And change is hard for people. Got to adjust.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. And like you said, improvement is what I want to see. We won 6 games last year and it was really ugly. I just want to see the improvement. I want to see the line protect, like you said. I want to see the defense defend. Like, I want to see people go after the ball. I want to see people tackle. I mean, it's amazing to me that sometimes the fundamentals get lost in all of this. But I just want to see some good football.
Seriously.
Come on, man.
Like, how many all the points we allowed on defense, all the lackluster points. Cairo Santos had the most points for us, and he's our kicker. No hate on that. Like, we know how important kickers are now, but still.
So, Handy, let me ask you, as an outsider looking in, because I know you follow this stuff too, how do you feel about our beloved Bear coming into the 2022 season, my friend?
All I know is on week 10, y'all going to lose.
Oh, is that what you're – oh, sure. Oh,
pew,
sure.
pew, shots fired. Falcons, right? Rise up.
Yeah. When when we sacked Mariota 6 times, right? Sure. Go ahead, Marcus.
Listen, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and let's jokes aside.
Jokes aside, sure.
For the moment, because y'all know me, I got jokes.
That's right. Yeah,
I agree with just about everything you guys have said. Like, there's so much room for improvement. I know you said you guys have been a laughing stock for 35 years, but I mean, there are a few years in there in the early mid 2000s, and then again when you made that run at the Super Bowl.
We don't talk about that here. That's very sad.
But still, man, that's at that. But still, you were in the upper echelon of the league that year.
For 2 years, yes, thank you.
But everybody keeps making the comparison to no matter what happens, the comparison will always be the 85 Bears, just like the 72 Dolphins will always be the gold standard for the Dolphins. Lot of work to be done. I know this isn't a college football show, but I don't have a whole lot of love for Justin Fields because he's already shown, just based on how he did in college, that given an adverse situation, he'd rather find a way to leave that situation and put himself in a more favorable situation. But I mean, I got to give it to him. The kid's going back out there. We just have to see how he holds up this season. Your offense is definitely going to have to protect him. I mean, shoot.
Oh yeah, well, of course.
That boy was running. That boy was running last season like somebody told him the 4 for 4 was 4 for 1. You mean I get 4 for $1? So
all right, maybe we have to rethink this third member thing. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But all right, well, listen. No, go ahead. Well, finish your thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Say what you want to say. It was a rough season for your squad last year, and the only thing at this point that will do for both the squad and for the fans and for the potential lengthening of the coach's contract is improvement. So that's I get it. That's what y'all are looking for. You hoping to see some improvement this season, and I'm 100% with you because I was interested. I was interested to see what was going to happen with Justin Fields there, just because I know the kid could ball, but it was it wasn't enough. Same thing with Trevor in Carolina, not Carolina, in Jacksonville.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right, well, listen, we're gonna move on from the Bears for now, because again, Delilah and I don't want to monopolize the show. We got some guests that we want to bring on, members of the family who have been gracious enough to join us to discuss their teams as well. So, Handy, we're going to bring you back on a little bit later to talk about your Falcons. But for now, we're going to bid you adieu, my good man. Thank you very much. So, Delilah and I are back. So, we're going to bring in a gentleman now. His name is Andrew. I'm going to hope I get this right. Faber. He will correct me if I'm wrong about that. But Andrew is part of our Let's Talk Football family, and he is a Buccaneers fan. So this ought to be a really interesting conversation. Let me go ahead and add Andrew to our little show here. Andrew, thank you for joining us. And did I get the pronunciation of the last name right?
Yeah, Faber.
Faber?
Faber, yeah.
Okay. Like
nice and French.
Yeah. Nice, yes. Nice. You must be Canadian. No, I'm kidding.
A little.
a little bit, right? So, Andrew, thank you for coming on the program here. We appreciate you coming on to talk your Tampa. Absolutely. It's always good to be had. Remember that. To talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, again, I will just preface this by saying I've been watching all the offseason shenanigans that's going on over there. And I want to ask you one question because, again, with all the offense you seem to have, is there enough football to go around, my friend?
I mean, a lot of fans in Tampa Bay are probably not too thrilled necessarily to see the Julio Jones signing because, he's old and decrepit like everybody else says. But to be honest, I understand the whole Mike Evans thing. Everybody wants Mike Evans to get us 1,000 yards, and as long as Tom Brady is there, he's going to get his 1,000 yards. But you are absolutely correct in that as well. There isn't only so much ball to go around. Lenny's going to eat at some point. Godwin, Evans. Kyle Rudolph's going to eat. And unless Tom Brady decides to go for 6,000 yards in his last season, not everybody is going to get the full slate of what they deserve. But somebody is definitely going to have one great season in that offense for sure.
No doubt, my friend. All right, now, so let me ask you this then, since you've been paying attention, obviously. What is the feeling, though, of Tampa Bay in camp? Because, again, most of the pundits and the experts, or the so-called experts, are looking at Tampa Bay to pretty much kind of, run away with their division and be another 12, 13-win team and, be a potential number 1 or 2 seed in the conference. So, do you expect out of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my friend?
I've never said this before, but I basically expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl this year. There's no anything in our way necessarily. That's the mentality that has to be. There's no Rams, there's no Packers, there's no nothing. We just have to play 20 games. We get to the Super Bowl. The trophy is given to us because we assembled the squad, and then we get to let Brady walk off into the sunset. That's the mentality. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what everybody's kind of thinking in camp. You start looking at the camp itself and all the fans that get to go there and see it. You get so many different people from so many different networks, whether it be big, medium, and small that you see here on Facebook and YouTube. Here, like Let's Talk Football. Some of these other guys are just getting, random clips of these great players and these great plays going on. So it's a beautiful time to be in Tampa. And I think everybody's just kind of enjoying the last little bit of the hoorah before Brady's done, obviously. And it just so happens to probably come with one more title. So that's, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. That laugh wasn't necessarily because Tampa Bay might win another title, but is this it? Is this the final hurrah for TB12? Do you feel that this is truly the last year, whatever happens?
I do. Now, obviously, before today, I had just gotten home and I'm still reading about the whole Miami fiasco that's kind of currently going on here.
Oh,
I don't think Brady's going to go there. I don't think Brady's going to do anything like that after this season. but it obviously makes it a little bit weird. But the thing is I think Tampa Bay and the coaching staff and the GM have been doing everything in the last 6 to 8 months with bringing Bruce in-house, where, you know, he's actually done really good at scouting, and now he actually gets to go and do that for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He actually gets to go and scout these quarterbacks that are coming out in plethora, or whatever the word is, many of them coming out in this draft next year. And the Buccaneers are going to be able to snag one of them more than likely in the first round if they decide to go that route. And Bruce Arians is going to find Brady's successor. So everything's kind of already in place. We're just waiting to see how the red carpet rolls out this year.
All right. Fair enough. Delilah, you got anything to add to this? Because I don't know how, like, I mean, Andrew has that nice little, like, smiley face, and he's sitting there with his big red beard, talking all this great stuff about Tampa Bay. I don't be this year. I don't usually want to slug anybody, but, like, you know, if Andrew was next to me, I might want to consider maybe just throw a left hook his leg. You're a little, you know, you're Tampa Bay, and you're 40 guys on offense who can catch the ball and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think the division obviously is easily won. So right in that regard, I do think obviously there's no way, like, unless something I don't know, a freak of nature happens, right? So obviously the NFC South is gonna go to Tampa Bay. It's like Panthers are struggling. They don't even know if it's gonna be Mayfield or Arnold, and then are they really gonna beat Tom Brady? Like, let's be honest, right? Atlanta, I love Kyle and I love Anthony, but you know, is Mariota gonna beat Tom Brady? You know what I'm saying? Like, Jameis Winston, I don't know, because he's got injury problems. You know what I mean? So I don't see anybody else in the NFC South taking that division, right? So already we know that Brady's gonna waltz into the playoffs, and that's where he's dangerous. Yeah. Now, I would love to see a rematch between TB12 and Aaron 12. Like, I really would. I'm not gonna lie. Right?
Really? Okay.
So,
All
you
right,
know, I really would.
Could happen.
I would.
That's very
right?
possible.
Like, I do too, to be honest.
I would like to see that you know, that revenge game. I think it'll be exciting. But yeah, he's gonna waltz into the playoffs again. Now, will he waltz into a Super Bowl again? I'm not sold on that right now. Nope. But is he gonna be in the playoffs again? Yes, 100%. There's, like, just no way. Like I said, there's some unforeseen circumstances.
It would have to be something crazy. No. It would have to be something crazy, like, obviously the news when Tristan Wirth went down today and got carted, it was just like, I'm sorry, and then all of a sudden it's just cramping. You're like, oh, okay, we can't have any more offensive linemen go down like that. That would not be obviously good.
Right. Lost your other offensive lineman, did you not?
Yeah, it's Ryan Jensen, our center. But we don't know the timeline, but he is.
Ryan
but
Jensen,
even last season there were issues with that, and they still went into the playoffs. That's what I mean. Like, I just
want the greatest, say, the greatest retirement for Brady is somehow getting New Orleans in the first round again, and then getting either Green Bay or the LA Rams in the second, and then the championship, and then go play the Bills, go play the greatest offense that's probably ever assembled, go beat them, and then say, you know what, I'm done. Here's all my fingers with rings. And then let our 18-year inevitable rebuild begin. So.
Almost thought.
But
that's
true, isn't it?
But I can't. Yes, but sorry, I can't say he'll win another Super Bowl, but he'll definitely be in the playoffs again.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, even I have to, again, if I'm being logical and sensible, yes. Tampa Bay seems like they have a pretty easy road to getting back to the playoffs and winning that division. So let's see what happens. Again, TB12 is 45. One good hit could take him down, or, you know, I'm not wishing that on him. I don't wish physical harm on anyone. I do think that, you know, that's going to be an interesting thing too, is like the line really, again, he's a super freak. We know that he's a freak of nature. The guy's in great shape. But, you know, he is 45 years old. He doesn't move as fast as he used to. Not that he was ever a speedster. And so you really, I think, really have to protect Tom this year to make sure that, you know, he's got his time to throw. He's got his time. I mean, he's got a quick release, but, you know, that you got to protect Tom. He's at that age where you definitely have to make sure that you're taking care of Tommy Boy. And he'll do the rest because that's what he does. Right?
Yep.
Absolutely. So, Andrew, let me ask you this, just a closing thought here.
Of course.
Obviously, we know you talked about Super Bowl, but I mean, in all seriousness, what are you looking forward to in terms of for your team this year? What are some of the things that, are you looking forward to one defensive player having a good year, maybe an offensive player kind of breaking out? What is kind of your outlook for this season for the Buccaneers? Like, what do you think?
In a time where social media and a younger generation is kind of coming into the NFL, trying to find their teams, trying to find their fixtures, I just want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to respectfully keep doing what they're doing, because they seem to be one of those franchises that are really in depth with their fans. I mean, Mike Evans especially, Devin White is starting to do it. Levante David, like the community stuff. There's just something about this squad that there's a certain core of this squad that exists for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I just want to see it continue, because it's something that we haven't had for a while. Anytime we've had it, it's usually traded away. And I want to see it after this season, obviously stick around and keep this winning mentality and this winning franchise obviously afloat, because we don't want to go back into an 18-year rebuild and watch all of our other players go play for the Raiders or the Chicago Bears or anybody else. I want to see them retire in my jersey.
Right.
So.
Certainly. I think that's what any fan or any, would want. I mean, you want to see the guys beloved or have been with the team, their whole careers finish with that team. Like, I think that's just what any fan would want. Again. So, well, listen, Andrew, great to have you. And obviously, for those of you who watch our show regularly, know that every week we have different people on. We always have guests. So you will see Andrew again. You can see that bright red beard he has. Again, we will say goodbye, Andrew, for now. Thank you for joining the program, my friend. And,
thank you for having me.
Go Bears. No, I'm kidding. Thanks a lot,
Bears.
Andrew. You have a great one, all right, buddy. Bears. Bears. There we go. Well, here we go, July. So we got the Buccaneers out of the way. And again, as you said, I mean, it's very hard to go against Mr. Brady. We got everything. I mean, can you give that guy any more? Could you literally just give that guy anything more to work with?
Especially that division too. Come on, it's not even.
It's incredible. All right, so let's move on here. We definitely want to get some other guests in here, and our next, hopefully we're going to bring in. Well, not a heated rival, but we happen to play this team this year. So these next two gentlemen who we're going to bring on here, or we've started to talk a little trash. So first, let me introduce a gentleman who is very distinguished in the community. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, here is Mr. Will Kramer, our buddy Will, who you will know. For some of you may recognize his face. Will is one half of the team that is currently Washington Football Weekly, along with our buddy Sean Spencer. Sean should be joining us in a moment, so we will start with Will. Will, welcome to the program, for one. Thank you for joining us today. Finally got a chance to get you on. Yes,
thank you. I appreciate that. I
appreciate
the ask.
Absolutely. No, we wanted, and again, we know we got that week 6 date with you guys, but let's put that aside for now, and let's get down to business though. Carson Wentz, quarterback, and you and I, we've had that conversation, but again, for this Washington Commanders, baby, there it is. There we go. See it? Sean is just fulfilling us with everything now. There you go. See, but let me ask you on the Carson Wentz front. Ron Rivera says he's 100% behind Carson. Sold. He's your starter. That's where you're going. That's how how do you feel, about this and going into the season with Carson Wentz?
So the bar is so low in DC that he's a huge improvement. I mean, the last couple of years, the guys they've trotted out at quarterback, it's pathetic when you look back at some of the folks between Case Keenums and a Dwayne Haskins and a Taylor Heineke and Garrett Gilbert last year, I think, for a game when because of
with
COVID.
with one game somebody says
Yeah. So it's, I mean, and even when Alex Smith was here before the injury, he really wasn't clicking with the offense. And then after, obviously, post injury. So the bar's so low that Carson Wentz is going to be better than everyone we've had and since Kirk Cousins. And before Kirk, it was years before that. So already you're going to see a level of professionalism from him. You're going to see the ability to a guy to make throws, make big plays that I think we are going to like as fans. But I mean, I certainly think there's the jury's out on can he be a franchise? Can you stick with him for the next 3 to 5 years? But I also think he's got a lot of motivation because I think he does know, hey, if I flame out here for the third time, the 13, what is my future? He's on a technically a 1-year deal. It's a 3-year contract, but he's got the out after this year. So they have the ability to say, we gave you a full season. You're just not the guy for us and move on. But I really don't think that's their plan. I mean, they want this to work. They talked at the beginning of the offseason how this is year 3. And Ron said, this is when we need to see our pieces come together. And so he put some pressure on himself by doing that and talking about it. And then you went out and brought on this big contract with Wentz, and that changed all of free agency. They weren't nearly as active because they went from having a ton of money to really shrunk.
To not having much at all.
Yeah. And
so I think that's the point. Sorry.
So like Ron has tried to walk that back a little bit this week because he got asked, well, we playoffs or bust. It's year 3. And he was like, no, that's too much. But I do think people want to see improvement. It's your 3rd year. This is your third offseason, Ron, of improving the team. And you are the de facto general manager. Everything runs through you. So there's a lot of pressure on Carson. There's a lot of pressure on Rivera to see, are you going to lead us in the right direction?
No. And I think that's important only because your division itself, when you look at the teams, a lot of people are predicting the Cowboys to win the division. But I kind of feel like your division's up for grabs. If you guys can find a way to keep Carson healthy and playing well with the defense you have and the weapons you do have on offense, you guys might have a legit shot to make a run at least at a wild card or, depending on how these things shake out. But like, do you feel that? Do you feel like this team itself, the way it's built right now for this year, has that capacity?
They have the capacity. It's kind of interesting. If you look at them right now on paper, they're most likely predicted to finish 3rd in the division. And they may, if it turns out the way things do, they may finish 3rd in the division and end up with 9 or 10 wins and be a solid football team that just doesn't make it into the postseason. So there's a chance to show a lot of improvement, but still not reach your, some of your goals with it. But I'm actually a lot more excited about the offense and the weapons that they have with some of the new, the wide receivers really impressing. Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. There's a tight end. I think he came from Nevada. He's over there in the Mountain West. Cole Turner. He's very much impressing. And they're talking about him being this red zone threat. And I think you're going to get a chance to see the offense run similar to Philly with Carson, where they had 2 tight ends out there where they were both receivers. They have better receivers now. So I'm more excited about the offense than I am our defense. I'm still very suspect about our backside, our back ends, our corners, our safeties. William Jackson did not gel in that system. So you got to see if he can come around. But our linebackers, we continuously give up 3rd and long over the middle. Our linebackers give up the first down. And we made no improvements there. And we Sean and I have been shocked all off season. Like, there's guys out here. Why are we not improving? So I'm more like, our prediction is we may have a lot of games where like we feel a lot of stress because the scores make it up into the 40s because we can't stop anybody. But we do think we've got an offense that might be able to score and make it exciting.
All right. No. And again, it's funny because I look at that division itself with the Cowboys, Redskins, Eagles, and Giants. And then, obviously in years past, these are all storied franchises and they're always, but lately, your division has been just not really essential to anything or not really competitive much in the playoff picture. And I think this is the year that kind of gets turned around, as you said. You got the Eagles who look to be improved. You got the Cowboys who they did lose James Washington today with a fracture in his foot. But I mean, still the offense, you still have Dak, you still have Ezekiel, you still got weapons there, you still got the defense they have. So I mean, it feels like the NFC East is finally gaining some relevancy. This is the year where they could gain that relevancy back. I don't know what the Giants are going to look like, for sure. But they have, they got a few weapons there as well. If Daniel Jones can figure things out for himself. So I mean, again,
not hit disabled people with a football.
You saw that? Oh.
Well, okay, I didn't see that. Delilah, expound on that. What happened there?
At practice, like first you have kickers hitting coaches, and apparently
I saw that one.
One of his traditional missed passes actually hit somebody, and it just so happened the fan was disabled.
Oh no! So geez.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a joke, but it really happened. It's legit.
I haven't seen a video.
But anyway, it just doesn't bode well. I don't know. It just doesn't bode well for the
Is that an omen, right? Is that like four bearing things where you're like, the poor guy hit a guy in a wheelchair or something like that?
Jesus. But as far as the Commanders, I could see why you're nervous about your defense. Chase Young is still out. I don't even know if he's going to come back, and that's unfortunate. Like, man, I want to see him out there again, but he just can't. And I understand healing takes everybody's body heals differently, and so. I think that's a huge loss for you guys because he's just such a huge piece for your defense. So I could see why that's what you're questioning. But I agree with you though. I think that we always talk about serviceable quarterbacks, and just Carson Wentz is. He's not like a flashy person, but he's also not awful. You know what I mean? It's just one of those weird situations. I think you guys will get I think you guys will get some wins too. Like I don't see why, you won't get some of these W's. Not against the Bears, but you'll get some W's.
You can lose that game. That's fine. You can win other ones.
The talk around here when it comes to Carson Wentz is preventing him from playing what they call hero ball. And throwing that deep play, trying to make more out of it than he needs to.
Yes.
And so the last guest said it perfectly. We had him come on our show, and he said it great. Yeah. Andrew said it, where we really think, and I agree with him wholeheartedly on this. I think they're going to want to play a boring style of play. He mentioned Brian Robinson there in the comments. I think Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are going to be very similar to the Carolina Panthers of years ago of Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah.
To prevent Carson from having to feel like he has to win this game himself.
Right.
Because if you can keep him confined, like you said, he's serviceable. And he has the ability, if you get someone open deep, he has the ability to hit him and stretch the field. What is going to be helpful to them is their schedule is a lot easier this year than it was last year. I mean, outside of the NFC East, they had like basically a murderer's row of the top starting quarterbacks in the league. And now you look at it, and I was just kind of glancing over it, and whether it's the best teams or best quarterbacks, I mean, you're really only looking at Aaron Rodgers. You can sort of say if the Colts are a pretty good team, Vikings have playoff aspirations, and the Titans, and then because of this last ruling, the end of the second last game of the season, they played the Browns, so they'll be seeing Deshaun Watson. But other than that, there are a lot easier games this year. There's 6 winnable teams out there. Not saying it's going to happen. I do put the Bears in that winnable game, that they have, and Washington loses games they shouldn't, and then they win games they shouldn't. They beat the Bucs last year. We do it every year. So it's like there's a chance to, and you got to think with the Giants and then stealing 1 or 2 from Dallas, you got to think there's easily 8 to 9 games in there that they can win. It's like, can they pull it off and stay competitive? The thing about the NFC East is I don't think in the last 15, 20 years that there's been a repeat champion. So you take that,
Right.
you take Dallas out of the equation. So now you're looking at Philly, and Philly on paper absolutely looks like the team to beat in the NFC
Right.
East. But you're
Right.
also going to see some pressure on Jalen Hurts. And what has been the knock on him in his entire career? Why did he lose his job in Alabama? It's because his passing, his accuracy, his vision out there. That's why they switched to Tua, because they needed a more dynamic offense. And Jalen is a I love the dude, and he's a threat out there. But can he make that evolution to a threat as a passer?
Right.
And if not, is Philly going to be frustrated with him, or are they not going to be able to take the next step up either? And they're going to be this mediocre to pretty good team, but not anything substantial because he's holding them back.
No, I got it. Again, all good stuff. Again, we know that on October 13th, I believe it is, Thursday Night Football, our beloved Bear
Thursday
plays
night.
the Washington. Right, it's a Thursday night game of all.
That's how much they don't care about us. They put this on a Thursday night.
It puts on a Thursday night, right? Exactly. But hey, we're coming for you guys. Well, that's it. We're coming for you. But I actually really hope that by that point, because that's game 6 for both of us, that at least we'll know by then, to me, what Justin Fields' year might look like. Because he'll be 5 games in by the time we play you guys. And so I'm hoping that by that point, at least, we have the idea of this is going to go south really quickly, or the improvement is there and we're going to march forward. So I think it is kind of a, given the first few games, I'm thinking we could come into this game 3-2, 2-3, 3-2, depending on how things bounce. So it's kind of an important game for us. You can go to that 4-2 mark or go to that 2-4 mark. Yeah. So again, I think it's going to be a great game for us. I don't know how it'll be for you guys by that point, but I think it really could be a turning point in our season, on how things go for the rest of the year. So I'm really looking forward to that game. And again, I know Sean was a little bit busy, so we might have to wait to get him on a little bit later. But Will, I want to thank you for coming on and joining us. Truly appreciate you. And again, get to know Will's face, because again, it's a long season, boys and girls. We got 18 weeks of this. So you'll be seeing Will's face again.
That's right.
That's right.
NFC gets the extra game this year.
Yeah, definitely. But before that game, we got to get together and get on here and make our predictions and stuff.
We will gladly do that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, don't worry, my friend. We got plenty of time for that. We're good there.
Right.
But again, thank you, Will.
Hey, let me ask this. I do. But before I say, who is going to help out Justin Fields? Like, who is the offensive coordinator y'all brought in?
The guy from
Green Bay.
The coordinator is Thank you. Getsy. Sorry.
Getsy.
We got the guy from Green Bay to be our offensive coordinator. And what I like about so far what I've heard from camp and the things that I've seen in terms of that is he's trying to, again, you want to play to Justin's strengths. You know what I mean? You want to get him going, moving, throwing. That's what you want to do. That's what they're trying to do. And that's one of the reasons why I think with the line that they're trying to put together, he got the center, even though he got hurt. He brought the center from Green Bay over, Lucas Patrick. We got, we brought in Reef lately. We just signed him the last week. We got guys that we're bringing in, and, we drafted a bunch of linemen. Obviously Tevin Jenkins, that's a different story. He probably won't be here when the season starts the way it's going. But Braxton Jones, the guy apparently is impressing everyone. We can see him coming in early. It's just, they're trying their best to put together a line that will satisfy at least, for this year. And again, you probably won't see the same lineup every week, because they even said they're gonna play it until something works. So they're gonna try different things, and they're gonna see what combinations work, and they're gonna do their best to put the best line together they can. I'm very interested to see how this is gonna play out, especially on the offensive side. We'll see what Getsy has in his playbook, and we'll see what they can come up with for Justin Fields. So
absolutely, make it easy for him. Make him look good, and make the game as easy as you can, because you got to build that confidence. You can't let him get shattered early.
That's very true. That's actually very sage advice, young man. That's very good.
We saw it.
appreciate
We
that.
saw it in 2012. So I know
There you
exactly
go.
what you're going
Right.
through with a quarterback who likes to run a
Yeah.
little bit. Well, thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much.
That's right.
Y'all have a great show, and I look
Thank
forward to
you.
hearing you throughout this fall. It's fun. Football's back.
Yay! Woo!
That's the exciting part. Exactly. Football's back. Thank you very much, Will. You have a great evening, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, there we go. Me and Delilah are back there. Well, Delilah, I think it's going so far. I'm enjoying this. Are you?
Yeah, no, it's going fun. I just, I guess we're not gonna have any representative from the Cowboys. That's shocking.
And, well, again,
where did they
as
all
you know,
go?
we all have they all had a
No,
again, this is our first show back, ladies and gentlemen. So we have we have had certain sometimes things get in the way, so not everybody was able to get on, but that's okay. Again, we are here for you. We can only we are always, Delilah and I are to expound on anything you'd like, but again, we're going to bring back since we do have he is available. Oh, thank you, Sean Johnson. Good stuff, you guys. We appreciate that. Sean, unfortunately, a little busy, so we weren't able to bring back in our third member of the team, Mr. Anthony Handy, because now we can talk about your Atlanta Falcons, my friend.
Hey,
Now
Kyle's in the group chat. Maybe he needs the link again. I don't know.
Yeah, where's Kyle? Come on, Kyle.
Send the birthday boy.
Mr. Yacy on here. So
send Mr. Yacy the link.
We did. I sent the link.
That's a shame. If I'd have known he was coming, we would have coordinated. We would have pulled the coordinated hat trick again for the show.
Right, exactly. We would have done that and pulled that. But again, we'll see if we can get Kyle on. We'll get we got our representatives working on it. We got the thing, But again, let's. Mr. Handy, as we know, is a Falcons fan. For those of you who watched the show last year, you probably caught the wind of that.
And sometimes it's painful.
Well, again, you're another team that, being honest, is trying to build back after the, we all know about what happened in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. But it seems like since then, you guys kind of fell off a little bit. I don't know if that was just that devastating to where things just kind of fell apart. But now you're starting over in a sense. I think that's how I look at it. Like, you got a new quarterback in. Matt Ryan left, obviously went to the Colts. So you brought in Marcus Mariota. Now here's my thing with that, and I want to ask you about this, of course. Is this Marcus's chance now to redeem himself for what happened early in his career? With all that coming out of Oregon, he was going to be great. This and this and that didn't quite work out that way. Is this Marcus's opportunity? Is this his team? Can he put them on his back and march your Falcons forward? What sayeth you?
I'm going to give you what I think the front office planned to bring Marcus Mariota in as a stopgap. And that's where I still think they are right now. But from what we're seeing out of training camp, there are a lot of people that have been very impressed with him. This has been very motivated. The passes are looking crisp. He's not, he's going through his reads, boom, 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 hitting the receivers in stride. He's able to drop the bread. He's able to, put the laser thread and the needle with the defenders and drop them in the bread basket, soft touch passes in the whole nine. So they're saying he's much improved. And I want to believe that I do. It's still kind of hard for me until the season starts and they start playing. It's going to be hard for me to believe because I didn't know exactly how much he played since he got benched. He has only thrown since the 2019 season. He has only thrown 30 passes in real time.
Wow.
During game time. 30
I thought
passes.
It was a little bit more, but that seems like 30 passes is nothing.
18 of 30 for 230 yards, one touch, one pickle at a 69.3% rating. Wow. That's where he's been since 2019 and it's 2022. Right. Yeah. Now, granted, you get pulled in because, hey, go give the QB a Huffalo or so-and-so twisted the ankle. They twisted the ankle, go out there and close out go out there and kneel down.
Sure.
Whatever. So that remains to be seen. But from what I'm hearing, all of the reports coming out of camp, coming off the I forgot what the name of the thing is. I listened to him on Spotify, the Falcons camp news. Okay. Things are going really good with him. He is really connecting, and the thing that's most important is he's really connecting with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. They said those guys are out there they're looking like superstars out there. Now, again, it's training camp. And again, not to steal your phrase, sir, but again, it's the Falcons. So and it's kind of not hard to look like superstars when you're playing against the same defense that gave up. I mean, I think our defense was ranked 22nd in the league last year. So, but I'm rooting for the guy for selfish reasons. Obviously, I love a good underdog story, but I'm rooting for the guy. So maybe he'll come out and he'll sling it around a little bit. We'll see. Because the first two games are the Saints and the Rams. Now the Saints are not the 2010 Super Bowl champion Saints.
Sure, not at all.
But you got the fresh off the Super Bowl Rams.
Sure.
And they're pretty much bringing the whole gang back together. So I don't know. We'll see. I think if I remember correctly, I went through and I had them finishing 8 and 9. So I mean it's not bad.
No,
it's not
I get
terribly bad. I know one thing though. I know that Coach Arthur Smith is better tighten up the reins and stop having fights in practice.
Yeah, I did want to ask you quickly about, and again, I know things get heated in training camp, but yeah, guys were like throwing haymakers and like you guys look like it got pretty serious down. Like people were, throwing punches and people had to be separate.
Here's the thing I don't understand, and you see it during games in real time too. These fools get so hopped up on testosterone, throwing punches at people. You're throwing a punch at a man that's wearing a hat on his head that is made of compressed plastic. Plastic that's about an inch and a half thick with your bare hand.
Right. I
got you. Why you in the training room getting your hand bandaged up after all of that foolishness when the adrenaline wears off. But it turns out that it was between Jalen Dalton, who is like 4th on the depth chart. So chances are pretty good he's not going to see a lot of play. I mean, I get it. The guys at the lower end of the depth chart are trying to get the playing time. And one of your guys, he played for you guys. I think it's Jermaine Efisi. He was a former first round draft.
Fetty,
sorry.
But to be fair, it's not just the Falcons. There's been fights breaking out training camp in a bunch of different, Steelers, the Giants, the San Francisco 49ers has had a big fight at camp. Like I feel like
they fought in San Francisco.
Yeah,
they fought at Give Peace a Chance, San Francisco.
There was some there was some mini brawl at the Bills training camp. It's like I feel like sometimes again, yes, your teammates, and as we know, like just your testosterone's going, and it's just it happens. It's not new. I think it's because they're reporting it more. They're getting it out. It's being tweeted, and everybody's like, oh, there's a fight at this training camp. There's a fight at this training camp. And so it's like, it's not just in Atlanta. I've seen
it's one of those. Well, the other thing about it is, I don't know how long they've been letting fans go to training camp like they do now.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody and their brothers got a camera in their back pocket.
And they're like, this right.
Yeah, so it's not like back in 1985 if something happened.
Exactly.
You had to run a phone real quick and make a phone call and hope somebody believed you. Like
they're fighting.
The fight is going on, and people are standing out there right now, real timing it on IG and Facebook Live, and YouTube Live.
Absolutely true.
So it's like it is what it is. I agree with you though. I like a good underdog. Road star at training camp.
Like a good scrappy.
That was funny, Sean.
Story.
That was fun. But no, I would like to see Marcus do pretty good. I think that game against the Saints is winnable. Yeah, I think that having the Rams second, I think that is tough, but
I think, matter of fact, I gave the Falcons the win. I gave the Falcons the win in that one.
Yeah,
I gave the Falcons the win to start the season opener. Well, the Saints. I mean, say what you want to say. No matter how good or how bad the Saints and the Falcons have been, one thing about that rivalry is it is very even down the stretch. As of last season, the record stands at 54 to 52 in favor of the Falcons. They've met 106 times, and there's only a 2-game difference in that rivalry.
Wow. See, there you go. Well, there you go. So, okay, but again, now with your defense, Mr. Handy, how did they look coming into this season? Because that's going to be, again, not knowing the question marks on offense, can the defense hold up, their end of the bargain in this particular season?
Grady Jarrett. I mean, every time that is the name that's coming out of training camp more than anything else is Grady Jarrett. Again, I'm using it again. I'm pulling it one more time, Nick. I got to borrow it. I'm gonna reach over and pull it from your side. But again, this is the defense of the Atlanta Falcons playing against the offense of the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons offense was ranked 29th in the league last year. It was one of those statistically the worst seasons ever. I mean, Matt Ryan went on a 9-game stretch without having a 300-yard game, and that was for the first time in almost 10 years. So that's how bad the offense has been. But Grady Jarrett has been looking really good, and that's the number one name coming out of camp. Grady Jarrett. They did pick up. Oh God, where is it? I'm wondering. I see that the kid that they picked up from Georgia, but he was a 6th rounder, so I didn't know if he was going to make it or not. I don't see him on the depth chart, so it doesn't look like he's going to see a lot of playing time. They did have a nose guard. Yep. Vincent Taylor is out with an Achilles tendon. He was he's a little bit of a journeyman, but they was looking for big things to come out of him this season. Came out of Oklahoma State, but his best season was 4 seasons ago. So there's still some question marks at defense, but the offense is what I'm looking for the improvement in from Atlanta, because last season you had 2 linemen give up 20 sacks between the 2 of them. One of them is one is a free agent, and that is, I took notes because I'm not very good at remembering stuff except movie lines and song lyrics. But 2 offensive linemen that accounted for 20 of the 40 sacks that Matt Ryan suffered last year. He was also hurried 48 times. It's just the offensive line is at the end of the day. And it doesn't look like they really did anything to improve their running game either, other than signing Cordarrelle Patterson. But we know he's like the Swiss Army knife because he's the receiver and he's the running back.
Yeah, I mean, that guy does everything. Right.
Right.
Like, hey, if you got an offensive play, put Cordarrelle in there. There we go.
Right. But we all know that no matter how phenomenal an athlete is, if you run him in the ground, he's got maybe a 3 to 3 year shelf life, 3 year shelf life on the short end, and maybe if you're lucky, 5 to 6 if they start pulling him back at year 4. So
that was the argument Debo had, right, over in San Francisco. Same thing. Like they kept putting him in different positions. But
I see they put a rider in his contract for
correct. Same thing. Like if you're gonna, I mean, I understand where these players are coming from, because if they have one position, but you're also having them risk and add to their by switching, and that's fine, then they should get the incentives. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no matter
nothing wrong with that.
No matter how many times, I'm sorry. Every time every play that you play increases your opportunity to get hurt or just wear and tear. So if you're just a special teams player, you're only on the field returning punts and fielding kicks and fielding punts, or field goal unit or whatever. But if you're playing on offense and you're playing running back 2 downs, and you're playing wide receiver 2 downs, and then you go back on the field for the punt return, like they got to be careful. They got to be careful with that. So they definitely need to find a good solid. I think they're just hoping that Cordarrelle that he's durable enough to make it through the season without any major injury, and they'll probably I'd look to see Atlanta pick up a running back out of next year's crop of kids. Probably like in anywhere between the mid to low 2nd round, maybe high 3rd round. So I think that's what they're waiting on, because all of the I mean, when it comes to running backs in the league, is Derrick Henry, Deebo Samuel, a couple of other people. So that's what I got for Atlanta. I'm hoping they do well.
Hey,
I got him at 8 and 9. I'm still gonna be screaming. I'm still gonna be yelling, rise up.
Of course.
But I don't know. What's that? I didn't. Arthur Smith is kind of he's really very vanilla. Like like he's when you have the demonstrative coaches on this end,
Right.
He's like the total and complete opposite. Like you got either a demonstrative coach or you got Bill Belichick playing the jerk coach. This guy's like very vanilla, and I don't know. We'll see what he brings to the table this year. I hope he shakes up the deck some because Atlanta can do something different.
Yeah, but I saw good reports about your new defensive coordinator, Pease, whatever his name is, right? Pease. Is that his last name? Pease.
we had Kyle Shanahan, who was supposed to be some kind of idiot savant offensive coordinator.
Right.
And we gave up a 25-point lead. Now, granted, we can't put that on the offense, but the offense that was running roughshod over New England,
very conservative all of a sudden. Yeah,
all of a sudden could not score a point in the second half.
They definitely took their foot off the throat, my friend.
Yeah, Dean Pease. That's your defensive coordinator. I knew it was something.
So my mentality when it comes to Atlanta is almost where people's careers just come to die. I didn't want to use that word, but that's the best thing I could come up with.
They come to end. They come to end.
Yeah, well, when it comes to coaching, I mean, who else except for Kyle Shanahan? Who else is really going on to? And I know Sean will probably jump in the comments with 8 names because Mr. Football Encyclopedia over there.
Right.
If it was him and Dylan in the comments would just start lighting up. But other than Kyle, let's just go back to that Super Bowl. Other than Kyle Shanahan, who else has gone on to a head coaching job from being an assistant coach in Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, I have to probably look that up. I wouldn't know that.
I would.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we're not going to wait that long, my friend.
Exactly.
Where's Kyle? You see, Kyle should have popped in. Maybe he had the stats. I don't know.
I don't know. But I do want to talk again. Now that we want to thank Anthony, of course, for his Falcons insight there. But I since we do have a little bit of time, let's get into something that's a little bit more serious, if we will, since we have the 3 of us here currently. Deshaun Watson's sentence was handed down by Judge Sue Robinson for the allegations against him, and he ended up with a 6-game suspension for this year. Delilah, I'll start with you. Your thoughts?
So I'm going to follow what happened and why the judge made the decision. And mind you, the issue with Deshaun Watson is these allegations happened in Texas, and the Texas Attorney General decided not to pursue and prosecute because, according to the Attorney General, right, in Texas, there wasn't enough evidence. So even though all the women came forward, which over 30, obviously something's fishy, but for some reason, the Attorney General in Texas decided that all of those cases, they didn't have enough to prosecute and charge him with an actual crime. And so we have to understand is as her, and that's coming from me as a woman, right? As messed up as it is, he wasn't charged with a crime. These were all civil lawsuits, meaning these were all women who because they couldn't find through the prosecution, right? They couldn't get him prosecuted that way. They were like, well, I'm going to hit him in the pockets, right? Because that does happen, by the way, more often than people think, not just in these cases, but a lot of times criminal cases don't go forward because the Attorney General, who was in charge of that, the prosecutor, they don't have enough evidence. And so what a lot of people do who have been hurt or feel like they've been injured is that they go the lawsuit route, right? And where they can feel that at least they could get some sort of compensation. I don't think people remember O.J. Simpson. He was found out guilty. So even though he was prosecuted, he was found out guilty. But her family decided to sue, and he's still paying them, right? So again, oftentimes when people don't find the means through the legal system, they decide to go this way. And so all those lawsuits were handled. Apparently, every single one of them are gone. The ones in Texas, because they're also, by the way, the lawsuits were against the Texas organization too. And so all the lawsuits have been settled between Deshaun Watson and all the women came forward, but also the ones in Texas. And so that is why the judge said that there was some misconduct, but following the lay of the law, because there wasn't actually anything that can physically or has been actually put on him to charge him with something. So that's why it was recommended for 6 days. So
Right.
again, do I think it's right? Again, no. But again, I'm just explaining why it came down to 6 days.
Yeah.
The Players Association actually agreed. They said if it's 6 days and not indefinite, because if they would have actually punished him a lot longer, they said they were ready to sue the NFL, right? And then this would have
Right.
been prolonged. It would have been prolonged. It would have taken a lot longer. It would have added to the issues. It would have created a way bigger, you know what I mean? Like, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
this was the recommendation, and so the NFL decided to go by the independent. We have to remember they also this is an independent review because
Right. Oh
NFL
no,
is
absolutely. Yeah.
they're trying to be transparent, right? Similar to what happened with the Miami thing, that was also an independent investigation.
Right.
I think I want people to understand that a lot of times, not just the NFL, but many companies, because they want to be like, hey, just so you know, it's fair. They bring in independent people to come in and investigate and give their. And so the judge, she said she recommended 6 days, and so that's what the NFL decided to go with. And the Player Association said they wouldn't sue, that they agree with the 6 days, and so that's why Watson isn't fighting back, because he also could appeal. But basically, everybody's like, just
3 days or
take the
something,
6.
yeah.
Everybody's like, take the 6 days. And so, is it great? No, but he is getting something. I know it's not perfect, but unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, right, guys?
Yeah,
So,
well, true, unfortunately.
and so
But Handy, let me ask you this.
That's it.
Go ahead. Yeah. I want to ask you this because do you feel like, because I kind of feel like, the NFL, in doing that, saying that, oh, we're going to have an independent review, because they wanted to kind of sit back and be like, let me see what happens here. So we can be like, well, we side with her. Like, we thought this was this or this was that. Like, the NFL trying to come out squeaky clean on this, and I don't really think they do. Do you think the NFL should step in and actually give him a harsher sentence than the 6 games that he's gotten?
Well, the comparisons being made online. I'm preface by saying, the comparisons are being made. Like Josh Gordon is like he'll probably never play football again.
Right. Yeah.
But Josh Gordon did something that at that time was not only illegal, it was also against the league policy.
The league policy, correct.
Calvin Ridley, I don't know if the gambling itself was illegal, but the gambling was against the league policy. Right. There are certain types of there is a misconduct policy for the league, and I think that's where it gets sticky, because I don't think it's very definitive. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's some guys are getting some guys are getting 3 weeks, and some guys are getting 6 weeks, and some people a whole season.
Right.
So I think that the NFL is going to try and ride this out and say, well, the judge said, this judge said, that judge said, the independent thing said, so hey. Do I think they should? Yeah. Do I think they will? Hell no, because they don't want to have to deal with a lawsuit. They don't want to have to deal with the lawsuit, because legally speaking, now that like Delilah said, you got 2 judges now. One judge said, I don't see anything wrong with it. The other judge said, yeah, what they said, and the NFL's not going to touch that, since there's no criminal charges found anywhere, and I don't. The thing with the NFL though is the NFL is, I don't want to say caught between a rock and a hard place, but I can see that it's definitely going to, the optics of it are going to look really
right
to the female fans of NFL.
It's not good optics.
It's not good optics, because Ray Rice was not that long ago.
Correct.
Ray Rice was not long ago at all. And I mean, there was a huge movement that women were going to like not go to games, not buy tickets, burning jerseys, the whole 9 yards. And NFL finally said, hey, Ray, just go ahead and give us your key card. You're done.
Right.
Now will it come? Go ahead.
So again, I'm not defending anybody, but the thing with him is he was caught on tape, right? Again, and that's really what it comes down to. Again, is the evidence. Apparently, even though these women came forward, it's still considered hearsay. They were the only two people in the room. There was no other piece of evidence. There was no tape. No one recorded it. No one was, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so because none of that evidence was there, and again, I'm not saying I don't believe these women. When 30 women come forward, obviously, even one of those women saying this happened is still wrong, right? So, but because again, they couldn't find, and again, this also happened outside of football, and I think that's also what a lot of really good analysts are saying is the issue with Calvin Ridley and Josh Gordon is that they actually broke an NFL rule, right? And again, it doesn't mean I agree with it, but again, they actually broke an NFL rule. You know what I'm saying? Like they broke an NFL rule versus this happened not, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, it didn't happen like in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, it's not.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the issue. I'm just
I know you're not.
I'm just laughing because
I'm looking at the comments too.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about another Ray who may or may not have broken a really big law, but there was no evidence to prove that he did, and he wound up going on to have a huge Hall of Fame career.
So that's what I'm saying. So again, that's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, there was no concrete evidence, which is why the Attorney General in Texas tossed out the cases and why he didn't pursue. Because if they went to a grand jury, like, I don't know if people know the law. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. And I watch a lot, you have to prove to a grand jury that there's enough evidence that they can actually take it to trial. Do you see what I mean? If they don't have enough to convince a grand jury, they're not going to take it in front of them because they'll know the case will get tossed out. So again, that's really what comes down to. I know there's a lot of feelings around that, but that means like it's up to us. That means the NFL has to change a lot of their rules because again, it's an NFL rule, right? It's an NFL rule. So if we want some sort of like stiffer punishment, then that means that we have to force the NFL to put some sort of regulation in place more than what they already have, because they do have they already have certain things against, child abuse, domestic violence. They really do already have certain guidelines. But again, that's really what comes down to is the NFL has certain guidelines where it would warrant a longer game suspension. So here we are. He's out for 6 games. He's going to sit out. Whether, what that happens later for his legacy, I don't know. But he's out 6 games. And again, the Calvin Ridley situation and Josh Gordon situation, as much as we hate it or not, they actually broke an NFL rule from which they actually have consequences for, like actually listed. They tell players, you break this rule, this is what happens, and that's what happened. So agree with it or not, that's what happened.
But shoot, then maybe the NFL just needs to do like the military, come up with like I don't know if either of you, I don't know if either of you ever did any time in the military or were related to someone that did. But the military is regulated by a set of rules called the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and that is across the board the same for all 6 branches. Now I had to think about it because of Space Force, but it's the same across all. I'm sorry, I still can't say that without laughing. But it's for all 6 branches. It is exactly the same, and in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, there is one art, and each law is called an article. There is an Article 32. Article 32 is a catch-all. That means if there's nothing else in these other 31 that we can't get you with, we can just get you on this one for general misconduct. And I think it as these. I think if the NFL is not going to be able to bear many more of things like this happening, where the legal system says, "Well, no, I don't." I literally have to, by the law, I don't have enough to take this to trial. Where the NFL says, I don't care what the court says. The general misconduct regulation of our conduct code says you are not playing for a year, or you're not playing for 2 years, or you're suspended indefinitely. And I think that's what the NFL is going to have to come up with, because it's not going to take too many. Because Ray Rice, them giving him a longer suspension, doing what they did to him was a knee jerk. Adrian Peterson, I'm surprised after all the hullabaloo after Adrian Peterson, he still got to come back and play.
He was still out though. He did, He was out for a while. So
he was out for a while, but I'm surprised they let him come back and play. Mike Vick, he
did.
came back, and there's people still mad. Mike Vick that came back,
Yeah,
got out of jail.
yeah. There was
came
plenty of
back.
people mad that he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying he got out of jail, came back,
Right. Oh, yeah.
played, and now
Right.
is
Yeah.
retired. And there are people that still will not go to Eagles games because the Eagles let Mike Vick come back and play, and he killed them.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. Right. Exactly.
So my point in telling all of that is leading up to this is that there's not going to be too many more. What is it going to take? Like, there's going to be an incident where fans are in mass going to start going, I can't support this at all.
Right.
And that's when the NFL can't afford that. I mean, yeah. So the NFL, I foresee at some point the NFL is going to say, and it's going to be another knee jerk. There's going to be something, but it's going to be something big.
Yeah,
and
I agree with Tina's two comments too. She's basically saying what you are. She's saying that there needs to be a guideline, like you said, like a catch-all, because just because it happened outside of NFL, property or whatever, there still should be something more. So, but yeah, I'm reading the comments, and she's agreeing with your idea.
Yeah, like seriously. I mean, yeah. I was with a guy in my platoon, and they were trying to get him on. I won't say which drug, but it was a drug. They were trying to get him on it because supposedly he popped hot, but and he was known for. There were people that said that supposedly they had purchased from, and they had hung out around and seen, but all of that was hearsay. But all they had was that he had just enough in his system to get detected, and so they didn't have anything to put it. They didn't have anything to put him out on. And right when he figured he was getting ready to get cut loose, they got him on an Article 32. Boom, put him out. See you later. Bye.
And there it is.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank you guys for that, because I appreciate both your answers. I think there's a lot there, and obviously the NFL needs to do a better job in general with these sorts of issues. And again, we know their track record. We know what's happened in the past. Again, you can, with like you said, with they broke an NFL rule, but this and this, all those gray areas. I mean, you could step in here and do something. Like you said, they won't, but they certainly could. And I wish they would. To that note, we are joined. We do have one more guest here that's going to be joining us. And this gentleman you'll recognize, kind of, he was a familiar face to the Roundtable last year, and he's our resident Baltimore Ravens fan. Let's welcome to the old program, Mr. Nathan Snell. Nate, how are you, sir?
What's up, y'all? How's it going?
Very good. How are you, sir?
It's a beautiful Tuesday.
Yes, it is a beautiful Tuesday, my friend. We thank you for joining us. So, Mr. Baltimore Ravens. No, I like giving Nate and I have had many discussions about this. But hey, going into the season this year, man, is this the year Lamar Jackson finally gets some credit from all his critics? Will he be able to shut them up and lead this team, to the promised land, Nate? What do we got there?
No, until he wins a championship, there's always going to be haters on Lamar Jackson. It's nothing new. It's a dead horse. What is it? What's the old saying? A dead clock's written twice a day.
That's right. Like that. A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
So I mean, no matter what, like if the man threw for like 4,000, like 4,500 yards, they're still going to find ways to say, oh, he could do better than that. Like they're not going to give him the credit until he wins a championship. When you win a championship, that's what shuts all the haters up.
Well, true, but again, I know that he has a lot of detractors, but I think, it's important. Like, he gets his running backs back this year. He lost both of them last year to injury very early on. You got Rashad Bateman now in his second year, that hopefully he improves. What do you look for from the offense itself this year in Baltimore?
I look for consistency. I look for a complete offense. First and foremost, everyone has to get back healthy. I think people ignored that last year. Lamar did have guys that did drop the ball, especially example the Detroit game. Even when Lamar was not there, the offense still was a catastrophe.
Right.
To the point where you're hearing in the exit interview, Coach Harbaugh talked about how guys weren't running the correct routes and different things like that. So looking for a better offense. I think Greg Roman has the offense that he wants, he wants to build. I think you're going to see, for what I've seen in the postseason, not postseason, in the practice and hearing from coach and all those guys, offense is still gelling, but it still needs some work. But I think it'll be a much better offense than what it was last season.
Okay. Now, how about on the defensive side of the ball for you guys? You seem like you had a pretty good defense last year. What do you sort of the same thing this year, or what do you think? No?
Last year we had guys off the street.
No, but it seems like you guys played all right.
No, I mean that 83 was fool's gold. Like where you got like Seymour, Jackson, like guys off the street, and like you're down to little or no corners. You got a safety that's playing corner. It just looked like trash. I mean, this year again, like I said, everybody getting back healthy. I think getting Kyle Hamilton was a good pick. Everybody panicked about saying, "Oh, he's getting burnt like toast," but he got better today and yesterday with the drills. I've never seen that at one fan practice. Everyone goes, "Oh my gosh, that's the worst pick we could ever gotten." But it's a drill. So I think the defense is better than what it was last year. You could see the depth. Travis Jones, I think, is definitely going to make some noise this year. I have him as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. We all know David Ojobo won't be back until he's redshirted for next year. But you'll probably see Kyle Hamilton in some nickel situations, some dime situations. Other than that, I think the defense looks retooled. It looks healthy. Everybody's ready to go.
Very nice. So where do you see your Ravens in the scope of the AFC North this year? Do you guys take the division? You right in the thick of it? What do you think?
17 games. No, it's 18 games, right?
Yeah, there's
17.
18 weeks.
Yeah.
18 weeks, 17 games. Yeah.
12-5.
12-5. Okay.
Well,
so
that's
that pretty
not
much
bad.
says you winning the division, does it not?
Yes.
I would think in the NFC North, that would pretty much considering what you got: Pittsburgh, Cleveland. We know what's happening there, and the Tennessee, right? What am I skipping on the other team?
Cincinnati.
I'm sorry.
Cincinnati.
NFC, AFC, yeah, Cincinnati, yeah. So again, 12-5. Cincinnati seems to figure to be kind of finish around the same. I would think.
No, I think they'll win 10 games. I think last year Cincinnati had the benefit of being the healthiest team in the division. I think that matters. Okay. If your team stays healthiest, you're going to go further. I mean, I don't believe in a team getting injured and not making the playoffs. Like we showed we didn't need to make the playoffs when you don't have a healthy squad. So if you stay the healthiest the most, in which the Bengals were last year, that matters. So,
right. No, I mean it does. You're right. Health is very, and I know people make fun of that, but it's like it is the team that you have to stay healthy. Guys have to be on the field. They have to be playing. Like you can't lose your big starters. You got, guys got to be. You got to play, man. It's very important to keep, like you said, healthy. And already, you see training camp. You see guys go out first, second day, pulled hamstrings, this, and that, and you're like, oh, come on, man. They're getting started. You got a whole year of this, guys are already going down.
Well, Coach Harbaugh's already addressed
health is always important.
It's already addressed how he's approaching practices and different things like that. I think it's just more of how guys are conditioning and different things like that. It has nothing to do with field. Has nothing to do with type of practice. It's just how these guys are practicing. They're conditioning, damn near 24/7. They're not taking rest. They got to know their body, know their strengths, know their weaknesses. So that's why you're seeing more injuries the way you're seeing now. Like the fact that you've got torn ACLs. We're not in the preseason. Like that's an issue.
Right. No, I believe it is too. That's why I said when you're looking at going, man, what kind of condition are these guys in that one practice and they're pulling hammies already? Like, that seems like, like you said, it seems more of like a conditioning thing than anything else. It's not the way you're practicing. It's you're not in shape, my friend. Or you, I think that's that's one of those things that's so important. So we want to thank you for coming out. We appreciate you coming out towards the end of the show. I didn't want to cut you short, but we appreciate you, and of course, everybody will see you more throughout the year. I'm sure everybody recognizes Nate podcast. What? I'm sorry. What is the exact name of the podcast?
Big Nate Sports Talk.
Wait a minute, hold on, Nate. You have to
Sports Talk.
you
So
have to you have to say it like your narrator says it. Big Nate Sports Talk.
Well, see, there you go. So if you need a new announcer, you got Handy over there. He'll record that for you. You can play that. It'd be great.
Yep.
No, but well, actually, Nate, you can hang with us because I just want to really thank everyone who came on today. Again, we're just getting started again. Football training camp started. It's August. We were excited to get back on. We wanted to, get the roundtable started again and get everybody talking football and get everybody back on here. And just
you got
really
some other
get
people that
going
want
with
to talk about their teams.
But I'm waiting for people to come into the link. I sent the link out. I'm not trying to. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk to everyone. I was up in. I don't, but nobody else is in. I don't, I don't want to. No offense to them. I just we're part of the show where you go, oh my God, dead air. What happened? What's going on? Why is nobody talking? Somebody say
Right.
something. What is happening right now? What is happening? So again, I just
No, that's true.
in my estimation, I don't want to be. I certainly don't want to be rude. There'll be plenty of other opportunities for people to come on and talk. I assure you. But again, nobody was currently in, and I wanted to wait for you because I knew you were coming on. But again, it's going to be a great year. I mean, guys, football is back. This is what we love talking about. This is what we love doing. I mean, we all have, we all have a passion for this, and that's a beautiful thing. And so I enjoy coming on here and just talking football with you guys and that sort of thing. Again, it's going to be a big year. Again, 17 games, 18 weeks. Training camps are just getting started. Got a Hall of Fame game in 2 days that probably means nothing, but what the hell, it's football. So we'll watch anyways.
Right.
But
Probably, he says.
Right, bro. Well, I mean, yeah, you got to do something, right? And so I want to thank again our guests that we had on, Andrew, Will Kramer. We had Nathan Snell, of course, Mr. Handy, Delilah. Thank you guys for coming back for another year of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. This is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this season. And again, if at any time anybody wants to come on, let me know because we love talking football with everyone. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. We're going to bid you farewell for now. One thing I do want to mention, because some of you may be wondering, because as you know, one of the most popular segments on our show was always Diversity with Delilah. And you're wondering where that is and why it was not on today. Well, I'll share a little something with you. We are doing something that's not necessarily a secret, but we were going to reveal a little bit later. But Delilah's segment will be moving to our Sunday show. It will be a regular feature on that show. More to come on that later on, but definitely look for that because, again, that is the longest running segment we have, and it's phenomenal. Delilah does a great job with it. So you can catch Diversity with Delilah on Sunday mornings this fall for football. So just so you know that. So it's not right. We did not get rid of it. We did not take away Delilah's segment. It's there. And it's going to be phenomenal, like it always is. So listen, seriously, thank you all again for watching. We appreciate all of you. Again, we're just getting started. We'll work out the bugs. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. We won't be on next week due to a work conflict. But see you again on the 16th with more Let's Talk Football. You guys, thank you very much, and you all have a great evening, okay?